Hi, today we're going to talk about areas of different polygons. And we're going to start today pretty simply with just the area of a square. Whenever you have the S, that just means the side length. So, quick thing on this lesson, I am more worried about you getting the number than the unit. And as you type in the unit into Canvas, it always makes it wrong. So let's focus on the number, and I am not going to require that you put the unit within Canvas. Okay, so for this first one, we're just going to do 7 squared, which is 49. And it is miles squared. In Canvas, you just have to put 49. Okay. Okay, so we are moving away from base times height. We're moving away from length times width and doing base and height. And the base and the height always form a right angle. Okay, so that's important to know. We're going to keep using the words base and angle or base and height all through this lesson. So you're always going to look for the two pieces that make the right angle. Okay, so really they're kind of interchangeable, especially on a rectangle. You're just going to take the two pieces. You know, I could call this the height and this the base, and I'm just going to multiply them. And so you have to write out like what you're multiplying and then write the answer. And so again, you don't have to worry about the units for now. Just worry about getting the number. And like I said, today's going to be pretty easy. It's going to get harder as we go. We are going to have a day 2 and a day 3. Now we're going to do a parallelogram. So we're trying to find the area of this shaded shape. We need the base times height. The formula stays the same. So we need the two pieces that make the right angle. So this often is confusing for people. You are not going to use the 4.2 at all. Okay, so that's just there as extra information. So this right here would be your height. Now the base, a lot of people also get confused here. The base, just look at the parallelogram. The base is just the 2.6. This 3 here is not really needed, okay? It's just there to kind of confuse you. So a lot of times the picture is going to be drawn with this height here, with the inside the figure. Okay, so it could be drawn outside to show you the height. It could be drawn inside. So either way would be fine. So on this one, your area is just 4.2 times 2.6. All right, so 2.6 times 4.2 is 10.92. Yeah, and inches squared. Again, you're just going to put that in there. All right, now for triangles, again, we're doing base times height, but now we're dividing that by 2. Now, you can use either equation. It's just like, how do you like to type into the calculator? Do you want to type in the 1/2 times base times height? This is the one I actually prefer. I type in the base times height, I push enter, then I hit divide by 2, and I push enter again. Okay, so on this one, again, there's sometimes extra information. We're looking for the two pieces that make the right angle. So that would be, this is your base and this is your height. So my area is going to be 90 times 76 over 2. Okay, so 90 times 76, enter, is 6,840. Divide that by 2, I get 3,420. Now on this next one, it is a little different because I don't provide the height. Okay, and so when I don't provide the height, this quickly turns into a little bit more challenging problem. It is equilateral, so all the sides are 6, but whenever you have this height, it also bisects the opposite side. So that means this is 3 and this is 3, which is interesting because now we have a right triangle and we can do Pythagorean. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So my hypotenuse is the 6. And the A and the B, so this is what I'm looking for. This is my height. You know, they're interchangeable, the X in this 3 over here. Okay, so X squared plus 9 equals 36. Okay, so 36 minus 9 is 27. And then I'm going to square root both sides. And then this, if you put it into the yellow calculator, this is 3 root 3. Or if you don't have a yellow calculator, let me rotate my phone. I'm just going to put 27 in and push square root. And let's round till at least 2 digits. Or maybe even more, because it would make the answer more of a correct answer in the end. We don't want to round too many times within one problem. So maybe 3 places. So this height is 5.196. 5.196. So we still have to do the problem. My height is 5.196. Now here's the confusing thing. What is the base? The base is this entire length. So it is 6, and it's all over 2. Okay, so I'm going to take 5.196 times 6, which is 31.176, and divide that by 2. Okay, so I get 15.588. And typically I just tell people to round to one place in the very end. Okay, now moving on, we do have a trapezoid. B stands for base. So bases are interchangeable, so this could be base 1 and up here base 2. The distance between the bases, so let's write that down. This is the distance between the bases. Okay, and so this is your height. So that means you don't need to know the leg. So that is extra information, and it's okay that we don't know that side. So you really only need those 3 things. Okay, so again, either formula is fine. Do you want to type in 0.5 at the beginning, or do you want to just divide by 2 at the end? The result is the same. So my height is 3.6, and then the 2 bases are 8.4 and 4.2, and then I'm going to divide that answer by 2. Okay, so I get 8.4 plus 4.2, which is 12.6, times that by 3.6, which is 45.36, divide that by 2, 22.68, or if you round to one decimal, 22.7. All right, so feel free to pause and rewind as needed. I'm trying to go fast so I don't run out of time on this video. Okay, so the diagonals. So the diagonal is the entire length. So this entire length here could be like the first diagonal. So D1 would be 6 plus 6, which is 12. And D2 would be the diagonal going the opposite direction. So 2 plus 10 is also 12. So we are just going to, again, do you want to type in 0.5 at the beginning, or do you want to at the end divide by 2? And my preference is I like to divide by 2 at the end. So 144 over 2 is 72. Now, things about kites you need to know. When these diagonals cross, there's always a right angle here. And these two, which is 3 marks, are always going to be congruent. So when you look at the second example, we know these two are going to be congruent, and we know there's a right angle there. Now, we don't know some important numbers, so we have to look and see if there's a right triangle. And there is. So we have to use Pythagorean. So again, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The 2 legs are 12 and x. And then my hypotenuse is 13. So 144 plus x squared is 169. So let's take over that 144. So x squared is 25, and you square root it to get 5. So I know this is 5, and this is 5. So the x we now know. Now we're not finished, okay? So diagonal 1, 5 plus 5 is 10. And remember, the diagonals are interchangeable. And the other one's 12 and 8, which is 20. So for your area, and you have to show what you're doing, one step at least. So 200 divided by 2 is 100. That's it. Okay, now things to think about. A rhombus is a parallelogram. So whenever I give you a rhombus, like here, and you look at the equation, you might say, well, I didn't give you the right equation. Well, yes, it is a rhombus. And the formula says you need the diagonals. But do you really? Because since it's a parallelogram, we can use the formula for a parallelogram. And so that would just be base times height, which we have that information, right? So you have to evaluate the picture and see which of the formulas fit. So for this first one, we're just going to, since all the sides are equal, we know that's 5.8. We're going to say, okay, it's just 5 times 5.8. So 5 times 5.8, and I just typed that in wrong. 5.8 times 5 is 29. Now, on the second one I put down here, again, this is a rhombus, but I gave you the information for the formula up here. Now, before you start doing Pythagorean, think about things we know about parallelograms. We know diagonals bisect. So that's 16. This is 12. And we have enough already. We know the diagonals. So the first diagonal is 16 and 16, which is 32. The second diagonal is 12 and 12, which is 24. So for my area, I'm going to take 32 times 24 and divide it by 2. So 32 times 24 is 768, and divide that by 2 is 384. Okay, so here are some I would like for you to try. You can pause the video and just try it. For time's sake, I'm going to keep going because I am limited on the length of my video. This is my base, this is my height, so my answer is 18. For the triangle, this is my height, this is my base, so I'm going to do 3 times 4 over 2, which is 6. Now for your trapezoid, this is your height, this is base 1, this is base 2. So 6 times 8 plus 12 over 2. So 6 times 20 over 2 is 60. Okay, and then lastly the kite. Alright, so this diagonal is going to be 28. This diagonal is going to be 16. And then we're going to divide by 2. 28 times 16 over 2, which is 224. Okay, so I am looking at this, and I believe the one on your notes will have a few others, and I'm not sure why they didn't pop up on my screen. And I'm at home, and I don't have access to them since tomorrow is an online day. So give those a shot, and you will have to use Pythagorean on those. If you need help, join an online session or message me. If someone wants to make a picture of it, I can post a picture of the answer key to those, I think it's 3 problems. And this we'll do later, so don't worry about that. But that is pretty much it. When it comes to your test, I normally provide all the formulas, but I don't label them. So there'll be a big list of them, like in the margin, but you'll have to just know like which one goes with what shape.